Thank you for joining me today on Maple Leafs Man Advantage. I am Hawkeye. And first off, I'd just like to say I now, on my YouTube channel, I do have 10 subscribers. So starting off with a little base here, that's great. I appreciate that. I'll thank you out there to anybody and anybody in the future that may want to subscribe as well. Because I've got lots of videos on here about generally the Toronto Maple Leafs. And certainly I do appreciate as well if you like it, hit the thumbs up and put a comment in as well if you want to comment on anything I'm talking about. That's excellent. That's way to go. So today I'm going to do a shorter video, but it's a video right before I get to the 1972 NHL Amateur Draft. We're going to talk about the Intra-League Draft, the reverse draft. And as well, we got a couple of new teams coming into the league. So we're going to talk about the expansion draft as well for these two new teams. So, first was the intra-league draft, and that happened on June the 5th, 1972. For the Leafs, they got a player and they lost a couple in this particular draft. So, first we're going to look at who they got. They were able to grab Larry Plow from the Montreal Canadiens. He had played 94 games with the Habs over the past few seasons. He scored 9 goals and had 24 points. After the Leafs grabbed him, though, he wasn't going to play for them. He was going to go over to this new league, the WHA, and he found some success there. He played there for 7 seasons for the New England Whalers. There, he would play 468 games, score 157 goals with 215 assists for 372 points. He scored 30 goals in this league on a couple of different occasions, including his opening season, this very season we're coming into, 1972-73, when he scored a career high 39 goals. So there you go. That's who the Leafs had for a very short period of time. Now, the Leafs lost defenseman Brad Selwood, who was playing with the Leafs last year. It was almost like a trade. He went to the Montreal Canadiens. Um, with Toronto, he played 99 games. But like Larry Plow, rather than suit up for Montreal Canadiens, I don't know. I didn't sit down and take a look at the defense core there. What was his possibilities of making that defense core? Because boy, Montreal was a boom. They were at the top of the league here. They're one of the best teams in the league. But rather than play for Montreal, he was going to go to the WHA as well. And like Larry, he played 7 seasons in the WHA. He played 431 games in that league, scored 42 goals with 185 points, and also had 556 penalty minutes. So the Leafs lose Brad Selwood, and they also lost Jerry O'Flaherty, this time to the Vancouver Canucks. Jerry had played just 2 games as a Leaf, and that was in the previous season. Jerry, though, he would find a home in Vancouver and get some good playing time and find some success there. He would go on play another 436 games, scoring 99 goals with 194 points as well. He'd notch 20 goals 3 different seasons in Vancouver. So that's definitely something Vancouver needs. Their offense is not good, their defense is not good, so they were able to get their hands on a 20 goal scorer. So that's good for Vancouver. Too bad for Toronto. There was no place for O'Flaherty at this point. So that was the intra-league draft. Now the following day, that's June the 6th, 1972, was the expansion draft. And there were 2 new teams being added to the NHL. They were the Atlanta Flames and then New York Islanders. This upcoming season will be their first year in the league. So, looking first at who the Flames drafted, I think they did very well in drafting goaltenders. Their first 2 picks, I think that's how it worked out. You were able to draft 2 goalies, both Atlanta and New York. Atlanta drafted Phil Muir from the Montreal Canadiens, and then Dan Bouchard from the Boston Bruins. 2 very good pickups there for Atlanta. Phil got 128 more wins at this point, and Dan got 286 more wins after this draft. Excellent there. Bouchard played real well in his rookie year. He got 9 wins, a 907 save percentage, 2 shutouts, and he was fifth in rookie voting for the Calder Trophy in this upcoming season. So Atlanta had good defense coming into the league here. So that's good. Now, from the Leafs, Atlanta grabbed Bill McMillan, who was showing promise in Toronto, but it seemed like every year, like he would be getting less goals, but at the same time, he was a guy that could get in the teens, perhaps in goals. Interesting, maybe just to me, but he played 1 season in Atlanta, and then he went to play 4 with the New York Islanders after that. After the draft, Bill would play another 309 games, scoring 42 goals with 51 assists for 93 points. So that's who Atlanta grabbed from Toronto. Looking at the Islanders, they did extremely well in drafting goalies as well. First, they grabbed Jerry Desjardins from the Chicago Blackhawks. And then they grabbed Billy Smith from the LA Kings, who will be there in their greatest hours in Long Island. Billy Smith will be there in net for them. They also drafted Eddie Westfall from Boston, Jerry Hart from the Detroit Red Wings, and those two guys were part of some of the good years in with the Islanders as well. From Toronto, though, the Islanders nabbed Brian Spencer, who wasn't getting much playing time in Toronto, unfortunately, and Brian Marchenko as well. Spencer would play 458 more games, scoring 70 goals with 123 assists for 193 points. While Marchenko, he played 42 more games, scored 2 goals with 6 assists for 8 points. Um, so that's who the Islanders would have grabbed from the Leafs. Now, looking at my own team, um, there is a guy that was also grabbed here as well. And we're going to mention him. He's going to be off my team. I'll say whatever. You guys can have him. Gone off my squad is going to be Dave Hudson, which is maybe okay. I'm feeling good about my centers. The last couple of years, it seems like I've got extra centers, and I'm needing to trade away centers who are ready for the big time, ready to play every day in the NHL. So that's okay. Um, Feeling good about my centers right now, for sure. Now, after this, Dave would go on to play 409 games, scoring 59 goals. He was originally drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, or that's who he was taken from. And he's going to the New York Islanders. So there you have it. So for the Leafs, this ain't too bad. They only lost 3 players. And McMillan was really the only one of those 3 players in the expansion draft that was getting everyday play as well. So there you go. Now, we're going to jump ahead a couple of days now to June the 8th, 1972, and we're going to get to the reverse draft now. Now, on this day, the Leafs lost goaltender Marv Edwards to the California Golden Seals. Marv had played 26 games, winning 10, tying 4. He had a 1 shutout. He had a pretty good 9-10 save percentage as well, and 3.25 goals against average, which tells me he was getting peppered with lots and lots of shots. Um, he played with both the Leafs and the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was going to be 37 years old this year, so he wasn't a spring chicken anymore. He was in his twilight years in the NHL here, or in organized pro hockey. Um, but he would find some playing time with the Golden Seals, which is great for Mark. He'd play 35 games, he'd win 5, tie 3. He had a shutout, have an 880 save percentage, and a 418 goals against average. So that's it. That's the Intra-League draft, the expansion draft, and the reverse draft from 1972. So there you have it. So the next video I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about the amateur draft of 1972. See who was picked, see who the Leafs picked, all that stuff. But yeah, until next time. Go Leafs, go!